Every morning, I followed the same routine. Wake up, brew coffee, go to work, come home, repeat. There was something oddly comforting in that rhythm, until I realized comfort wasn't the same as peace. My apartment was quiet, too quiet most days. I didn't keep pictures on the walls or music in the air. The silence wasn't just around me, it was inside me. A stillness I carried since I was 10 years old, since the day my little brother drowned while I was supposed to be watching him. No one blamed me, not out loud, but I did, and I never really stopped. That day was like a single moment caught in amber, preserving a guilt I couldn't put down. I worked at a local retail store, managing people, inventory, the occasional outburst from customers. I was good at it, but it never meant much. My coworkers knew me as polite, efficient, and distant. I never joined after-work drinks or birthday lunches. I'd mastered the art of being physically present, but emotionally invisible. Then one day, something changed. Or someone, rather. Mr. Calhoun, my next-door neighbor, was a man I often saw on the porch with a book or a cup of tea. We never spoke much beyond a wave, until the day he called out to me as I walked past. "You always look like you're headed somewhere heavy," he said. I paused. Something in his voice didn't pry. It simply saw. I shrugged it off, but that moment lingered. A few days later, I found a small plate of cookies on my doorstep with a note. No words needed, just sugar. I didn't know what to make of it, but I brought them inside. I ate one, then two. That was the beginning. He didn't push. Instead, Mr. Calhoun became a constant, just a man who happened to be there. He spoke of small things, weather, gardening, his late wife, always gently, never with force. One evening I lingered on my way in. He asked me if I believed people can ever really move on. I said nothing for a while. Then I answered, "I don't know. I think some things just stay." He nodded like he understood something I didn't yet. Then he told me about his son, lost to cancer when he was just a boy. He told me how the world kept spinning even when his heart had stopped, and how one day it didn't feel like betrayal to smile again. That night, I sat in the dark and cried for the first time in years. Not loud, just enough for my chest to loosen a little, enough for the silence to tremble. The next week I sat beside Mr. Calhoun on the porch. No cookies this time, just the quiet creak of wood and the soft hum of a summer breeze. He talked about a community center nearby, where he sometimes helped out, mostly reading to kids or fixing old furniture. He said they were looking for volunteers. I almost said no instinctively. I wasn't the kind of person who fit into bright rooms filled with children and chatter. But instead I said I'd think about it, and that alone felt like movement. A few days later, I found myself at that center, standing stiff in a room that smelled like crayons and construction paper. The kids looked at me with the kind of raw curiosity that made me uneasy. One of them, Jake, maybe 8, asked if I could fix the wheel on his toy truck. I said I'd try. He smiled like that was the greatest thing anyone could say. I kept going back. At first, I stuck to the sidelines. I helped mend broken toys, organized books, tightened screws on wobbly chairs. But slowly the kids began to pull me in. They didn't care about my silence. They just cared that I showed up. Jake became my shadow. He asked questions nonstop, from the meaning of words to why adults always looked tired. I found myself laughing at his blunt honesty, then feeling strange because laughter hadn't lived in me for so long. One day, he asked me if I had a brother. The question hit like a quiet storm. I nodded. "Is he cool like you?" he asked, eyes wide. I swallowed hard. He was better. That night, I walked the long way home. My feet led me past the cemetery. Without deciding to, I walked through the gate and found the grave. My brother's name was carved gently into stone, the letters softened by time. I sat on the grass. The wind whispered in the trees, like it had waited for me. I talked, quietly, hesitantly. I told him I was sorry, that I tried to forget to survive, but the forgetting had only made the pain sharper. I left a small paper crane by the headstone, something Jake had taught me to fold. Then I stood, lighter than I'd felt in years. Back at the center, I began to tell stories. My own, edited at first, then raw. The kids listened, not to fix me, just to hear. I saw in their eyes the thing I hadn't known I needed. Acceptance without explanation. One afternoon, Mr. Calhoun dropped by the center. He watched me from a corner as I helped Jake build a lopsided birdhouse. Afterward, he said nothing, just patted my shoulder. I think that's when I understood. Healing doesn't erase the past. It rewrites how we carry it. We're not meant to forget those we lost. We're meant to remember them with gentleness, not chains. And sometimes, the people who help us the most aren't the loudest or the closest. They're just the ones who see us and stay. If this story touched your heart, consider liking, sharing, or commenting with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more quiet truths and soulful stories.